What's good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here once again with another episode of the No Gimmicks podcast. This week I'm flying solo as my tag team partner Dale Clifford out there in Fernley, Nevada has the week off. I'm bringing you a recap of the WWE exclusive pay-per-view for the SmackDown brand, Backlash. Let's jump into the Women's World Title match. Kudos to the WWE for giving Becky Lynch her due, having her outlast 5 other very competitive female opponents to become the first WWE SmackDown Women's World Champion. Also, Naomi had a spectacular performance throughout that match, hitting a very cool looking springboard plancha to the outside and displaying a lot of athleticism along the way as well. Now let's talk about the bad. Once again, bring up Naomi's name. Naomi, with having such a great performance in that match, I felt that she should have lasted a little bit longer. She was the 3rd female to get eliminated from that match. I would have liked to have seen her be a part of that final 3 group there. And then let's talk about the ugly. My goodness, that vicious forearm that Nikki Bella delivered to Naomi as she came off the top rope with a springboard maneuver. Bam! She took it right to the mouth. So let's talk about the Usos versus the Hype Bros here for a sec. So basically the reason why this match is taking place is due to the fact that post-victory, when American Alpha defeated the Usos on SmackDown this past week, Chad Gable was injured by the Usos, rendering American Alpha not to be able to compete at the Backlash pay-per-view. So we have Hype Bros versus Usos. Whoever was victorious in this match would go on to face Heath, Slater, and Rhino later on that evening to become the first WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So let's talk about the good of this match. First off, I am totally digging the Usos' new heelish demeanor. I'm digging all the heelish tactics, working over the leg, doing some of the things that they were doing throughout the match, you know, just kind of like taunting the Hype Bros. I'm actually liking this a lot. I'm really digging the new direction that they're taking the Usos in. The bad is, something that I thought that really made the Usos stand out today in 2016, their face paint. They're no longer wearing the face paint now that they're being portrayed as heels. That's something that they lost that I wish that booking, you know, or creative wouldn't have taken away from them. Also, the ugly. When they were working over Zack Ryder's leg, I saw his leg bend in a way that a human's leg should not bend. The next match on the Backlash card was The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Very solid action out of both of these guys here. And I know I'm not one to usually praise The Miz, but Miz, you get some props from me tonight, brother. You put on one hell of a match. Miz really delivered here. Dolph usually, I figure, would be the one who would carry this match. But yeah, the good things that really stood out to me, Miz delivered probably one of the coolest looking slingshot power bombs. I don't think I've seen anyone else really use that. That was something that he broke out of his arsenal tonight. Also, I dug all the repeated drop kicks into the corner on the Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, he pulled out some moves out of his bag of tricks there tonight. So good effort out of you, Miz. The bad, I would have to say, Maurice's interference. That was about the only thing in this match that really stood out to me as a negative. The ugly. When Miz had Dolph in that Romero special, that's the move where he kind of had him contorted backwards and he stood on his legs. Dolph Ziggler's back bent in a way that a human's back should not bend. Okay? He folded him up like an accordion. That was just ugly. Other than that, very solid match out of these two. Second best match on the card, because I think the best match on this show was the main event, but we'll get to more about that later. So possibly the biggest news to come out of Backlash pay-per-view actually happened prior to the show. Randy Orton competed against Brock Lesnar in a very brutal match at SummerSlam. He actually was given a concussion during that match from Brock, so he was not medically cleared to compete at Backlash this evening. So that left the WWE in quite a pinch. So they actually shot an angle where Bray Wyatt attacked Randy Orton backstage, wedging his leg between a wall and a door, slamming the door shut on his leg, basically taking him out of the match. So Bray Wyatt came out to the ring. He demanded that Randy Orton actually be officially counted out of the match. And then what do? They give him Kane. So, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in this scenario here. First off, the good. Kane versus Bray actually was a good match. It was a no-holds-barred match, so there were some chairs involved. There was actually a really cool spot where Bray actually delivered a really sweet-looking senton, which actually put Kane through one of the other announcers' tables. The bad is, Bray Wyatt continues to lose. Bray Wyatt now has absolutely no momentum whatsoever. There was not really much of a feud established between him and Kane recently, so a lot of people don't remember the interaction between them, the Wyatt family and Kane, which was quite some time ago at this point. The ugly, of course, is everyone wanted to see Randy Orton, the Viper, against the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. That did not happen. In my opinion, someone didn't do their due diligence here, and someone dropped the ball. SummerSlam was several weeks ago now at this point, so are you really going to have me and everyone else believe that just today they figured out that Randy Orton wasn't medically cleared to compete? I don't know about this one, WWE. Moving on. So let's talk about the second tag team match earlier tonight on Backlash. We had the Usos, who had competed earlier in the evening, were victorious over the Hype Bros, taking on Heath Slater, who not only had the WWE SmackDown tag team titles on the line, but also a WWE contract as well, alongside of Rhino. First, the good. Well-worked tag team match. The Usos did a great job punishing Heath Slater, cutting him off from his tag team partner Rhino, leaving him in the ring to take the brunt of the punishment, and then for Rhino to come in clean house. However, Heath Slater actually wound up being the one who kind of was the catalyst towards them winning the titles. Also, American Alpha, the tag team that was injured earlier in the week by the Usos, they did not have to lose to Heath Slater and Rhino in order for Heath to get his contract. The bad, in my opinion, is the storyline in general, because WWE has quite a puzzle to figure out here. Basically, we have a few factors. We have the Usos, who have recently turned heel. We have Heath Slater and Rhino, who won the tag team titles. Heath now has the tag team titles, and he has his contract. However, we have American Alpha with Chad Gable, who is currently out injured. Once these guys return, they're going to come back as faces, facing off against Heath Slater and Rhino, who are also now faces. So what does that tell you? They are going to have to take the titles off of Heath Slater and Rhino and put them on the Usos in order for American Alpha to come back and win those titles. Quite a bit going on there, right? The ugly. WWE Network, you begin to fail me yet once again. Those freezes started to occur, and they continued on through the rest of the night. However, I was able to work through it. Very good match here. I'd say on the no gimmick scale, I'd probably give it about a 3.5 out of 5. So let's talk about the main event here. Dean Ambrose, the WWE Heavyweight Champion, taking on the new face who runs the place, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Awesome match here. Great effort out of both guys. Dean Ambrose really put his body on the line, just doing some crazy spots, especially even taking AJ out there into the crowd at times and diving off of stuff. Just awesome. All over the place action out of these guys. AJ Styles pulling up every trick that he possibly could, that he had up his sleeve, hitting him real cool. I think it was a human torture rack into a spun out power bomb. He also utilized that move that kind of looked like the attitude adjustment, which Cena uses, where he drops the opponent on the knee. AJ did go over dirty, but yes, he got over, and he actually won the WWE Heavyweight title. This is the first WWE title win for AJ. I think he has many more to come. I think he'll actually probably have a pretty lengthy reign. The only bad about this is I begin to notice some boos for Dean Ambrose. Didn't quite see that coming. So it seems like even though AJ is the heel, the crowd is in favor of him. And it looks like Dean is actually beginning to kind of draw a little bit of heel heat. So who knows? They might possibly eventually do a double turn with these guys somewhere down the road. The only other ugly that I have from this is, my goodness, that belly-to-bat suplex that was delivered on AJ by Dean Ambrose. I'm not sure if AJ was supposed to stick the landing there or what, but that just looked painful, the way that both of those guys came down crashing the mat. Overall, like I said, very solid effort. I give this one on a no gimmick scale a 4 out of 5. Overall, I'd say that Backlash delivered. Actually, a pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of this show. You know, I was kind of looking at the card prior to watching it, and looked like a glorified episode of SmackDown Live. And Dale Clifford and Khalil Smith, they both agreed with me. So, thank you for tuning in to this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. Please continue to stop by our official YouTube page, subscribe to us, like us on Facebook, and also follow us on Twitter at the No Gimmicks PC. Also, keep an eye out for my LinkedIn updates, usually on Monday afternoons weekly. Until next time around, this is Todd Smith signing off for No Gimmicks Podcast. My tag team partner Dale Clifford and I will be back next week as we embrace our version of debate with our program, Yay or Nay. Until next time around, y'all take care.